Right, so first flight after a week of computer problems like you wouldn't want to believe. So I'm sure a few of you have seen it all up on the forums and that. Had a really bad week. Thought it was Microsoft Simulator, and you know all those funny bits that stretch up into the sky. And if you could imagine those, but literally hundreds of them, and like the Shoreham building here would be about 300 miles long. So immediately I thought it was Microsoft Simulator, reloaded it, in fact reloaded it twice, hours worth, booted it up, and it then crashed, and then had to reload the whole lot back in again. So thought I'd have a quick go of explaining. In the meanwhile, went in to explain, had exactly the same problems. Points disappearing off into the distance. So of course I suddenly realised it was something to do with the graphics rather than the program, and so started the long drawn out process of, well, uninstalling drivers and putting them back in, still not working, and sort of a lot of homework. And it appeared that I'd lost either Vulkan runtime libraries or some form of libraries out of my graphics settings. And when you install, you know, GeForce and your normal NVIDIA drivers, they should install it, and I was reinstalling them, nothing. So I used a program called DDU, which in the end takes everything out, and I took everything out and I put in the most up-to-date driver, and then both programs started working. And then it was a matter of taking out the most up-to-date driver because it's not so good for VR, and put the old one back in. Finally did it, and everything seems to be working as it should. Now, as to how all this happened, I think tabbing between lots of different programs while I was on a flight with my friend Richard, and during that flight I actually lost the profile for my controller, and thought, oh well, won't think too much of that, but obviously something was amiss. I do love this upside down stuff. And yes, I'd lost all the controls from my controllers and had to go and reprogram them all back in again. And I'm wondering if during my tabbing between the different graphics programs and everything that I do, that somehow trying to get back, or when the mouse was somewhere else, I managed to delete something I shouldn't. But anyway, it ended up 2 days to get it to work, and finally back. So having to fly around in the pits, which I do love. It's a great little plane. You really get a feeling of speed, and here we are at Shoreham. Just they'd love us here at Shoreham doing all this stuff. Won't get too low, but nose up and a gentle roll out. Whoosh. Let's follow this river, see how we do. I always find it really weird that the pits doesn't have any flaps. You know, it's just horsepower and balance really on the throttle. Sorry if my head's jumping about quite a bit. But I thought it'd be a good test of doing a live stream and seeing how the GeForce capture software keeps up on this one. what it looks like. In the Rift S headset, it's very sharp and no stutters. I'm using the Oculus Tray tool at the 18, the very slow setting. And for a change, I've got it at no sharpening in the Oculus Tray tool. I've done it in the program just to be different. Let's go up. And it looks great in the headset. Hopefully I've got the sound right, the volume right, and it's not overwhelming everything. Well, even worse, that you can only hear my voice and no engine noise. I would imagine they'd be glad I'll be gone. Let's have a pull back. Look over the top. Shut the engine off a bit. Oh, that wasn't straight. Came out of there at a funny angle. Somehow I'm rolling it on a loop. That's very strange. Oh well. My expertise in an aircraft is pretty limited anyway, so Brighton Pier. Brighton Pier upside down. We go up around this point, which I always remember, or forget the name of, and then follow the inlet in on the other side. Maybe it's a bit further up. Let's get down amongst the buildings. Certainly be interesting to see how smooth it is when it finally goes up. It's a strange thing when you do a live broadcast using the GeForce and you name it and send it up to YouTube. I actually can't watch it directly back straight away. You have to actually wait for it to process and do everything, and then I can see it in about half an hour or something. So I think I get an email or something to say that it's there. In fact, probably the subscribers all get emails, which not the best today when I'm just messing about, but whether it's worth coming to watch or not. But I think I'm back to where I was before on the settings. This in the, you know, everyone's got their own view of the headsets and what's good, but this is so sharp in the Rift for me, and my computer can handle it, so it's a very good view for me. It's a Rift S, let's say Rift. It's quite odd not being in one of the bush planes, because that's generally the only thing I fly. And I thought I'd have a go at this earlier when it first came on. Used to fly one when I did radio control flying, although I ran a model helicopter club. We occasionally went off for a bit of fun, and I had a pit special that I used to fly RC wise. Was one of those sort of things, if ever the engine conked out, it had no glide whatsoever. You know, you're always lucky if you got it down in one piece if the engine went. Probably very much like the real thing in some respects. So that's a cracking view. I suppose I don't know if you can see that, but on the wire framework on the end of the wing, just got a very slight judder just on the end of it, but not going to worry about it. The computer's working, that's the main thing. So if ever anyone gets any graphics problems or is fed up or thinks that they've put so many drivers in that maybe things are getting corrupted, there's a program called DDU, and I'd never heard of it, but basically it takes out all of your drivers. You're probably all aware of it anyway, and it was only me that wasn't. And then you can do a fresh install, like if you were going to put a new graphics card in, you would use it for doing that. And it will no doubt tidy the registry up and everything else as well. So great program. Maybe it's something you should do every now and again. And maybe that was my problem, the fact I'd been putting so many different NVIDIA drivers in, looking for the one that works well with the Rift. The older ones work best. I think this is 456 maybe, something like that, and maybe it just got all clogged up. wonder if it can do one of those things where you fly it on its side and put the tail rudder on to keep it. So that's full tail rudder. No, still sinks. It's probably got some great technical name, but basically the aircraft flies on its side and it just uses the tail to keep it airborne. Give that another go. Not so steep, maybe. That was full right tail. I think I'll end up putting it in the drink doing that. Right. So that should have been a long enough test, and if you have been watching or following, or you're going to watch it later on, thanks for a quick joyride in the pits, as it were. Going to jump into X-Plane, get my fix of helicopters next, seeing it's been so many days. So I wonder what the chances of me being able to land one of these is. Probably coming in far too fast. Slow it down a bit. It is very, very touchy. So that's the concrete runway. Let's try probably not the best approach is coming in and just throwing it over. Bit more throttle. Drifting a bit. Bit more throttle, I think. I can cut it. Whoa, big bounce. And another bounce. Put the brakes on, pull back. Is it gonna stop? Oh, that was a landing and a half, blimey. But it stopped before the end, so that's a success. Anyway, thanks for watching if you were watching, and let's hope it worked out as a success. See you all soon.